For the video today, we're going to have a little bit of a backstory, and it's going to be about Solomon. So we're going to talk about 1 Kings 3. And to summarize it better for you, so we don't have to read the whole entire book for you, I'm going to start in verse 5. At Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon during the night in a dream, and God said, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." Then in verse 9, explaining to God all the things that he has to govern, he asked God, "So give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong, for who is able to govern this great people of yours?" Then down in verse 12, "I will do what you have asked," God says. "I will give you a wise and discerning heart so that there will never have been anyone like you, nor will there ever be." Needless to say, Solomon clearly was very, very wise. In fact, it's also written, God gave Solomon wisdom and very great insight, and a breadth of understanding as measureless as the sand on the seashore. Solomon's wisdom was greater than the wisdom of all the people of the East, and greater than all of the wisdom in Egypt. So to sum it up, Solomon was really, really smart. Maybe the smartest person to ever exist on the planet. The core of this message is pointing out that we should put faith in God and following God over wisdom. If you don't believe me, let's follow what happened to Solomon, the wisest man to ever exist. During his reign, he did well the majority of the time, but when he lost sight of God, he lost faith in God, that's when things started to go very south. Solomon, it says, he had 700 wives of royal birth and 300 concubines, and his wives led him astray. Solomon grew old. His wives turned his heart after other gods, and his heart was not fully devoted to the Lord his God, as the heart of David, his father, had been. Furthermore, it goes on to say in 1 Kings 11, 5-6, he followed Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and Molech, the detestable god of the Ammonites. So Solomon did evil in the eyes of the Lord. He did not follow the Lord completely, as David, his father, had done. So what happened because of what he'd done? In 1 Kings 11, we're going to start in verse 9, the Lord became angry with Solomon because his heart had turned away from the Lord, the God of Israel, who had appeared to him twice. Although he had been forbidden Solomon to follow other gods, Solomon did not keep the Lord's command. So the Lord said to Solomon, "Since this is your attitude, and you've not kept my covenant and my decrees which I command you, I will most certainly tear the kingdom away from you and give it to one of your subordinates." Again, brothers and sisters, I tell you this whole story about Solomon because Solomon had all the wisdom in the world, was arguably one of the smartest people to ever walk the earth, yet he lost everything. I'll tell you why. Obviously, he lost everything because he chose to take his faith out of God and put it into false idols. He chose to chase something else besides God. Likewise, brothers and sisters, our goal should be to keep our eyes on Jesus at all times. And if it's a choice between wisdom and knowing something and knowledge is not power. Faith is power. Faith in God and following Jesus to the very end is power.